So today we're going to tackle one of the biggest subjects out there, life itself. We're going to break down the science of biology, what it is, how it all works, and why it's pretty much the key to understanding everything from our own bodies to the entire world around us.
You know, it always starts with a simple question, right? Questions just like these are really the engine of all science. At its core, science is just our way of trying to answer our own curiosity about the world through careful observation and experimentation.
Okay, so let's start with the big one. What are we actually talking about when we say the word biology?
It sounds kind of complex, but really, the word itself tells you everything you need to know. It's just a mashup of two Greek words, bios, which means life, and logos, which means study. Put them together, and bingo! Biology is, quite literally, the study of life. Simple as that.
But life, well, that's an enormous topic, isn't it? It covers everything from tiny invisible bacteria to gigantic blue whales. So to even begin to make sense of it all, biologists have broken it down into a few main pillars.
Think of it like this. You've got zoology, which is the study of all things animals. Then you have botany, which covers the entire plant kingdom. And finally, you have microbiology, which dives into the vast, unseen world of microorganisms. These are the three great domains of life.
Now, from those three main pillars, the tree of knowledge just explodes with branches. And this is where we get to explore the incredible diversity of life from all sorts of different angles.
For example, you've got morphology. This is all about an organism's physical form and its structure. It's like studying the actual blueprint of a living thing, both what you can see on the outside and all the parts on the inside. It basically answers the question, what's it made of?
But just knowing the parts isn't really enough, is it? So if morphology is the what, the blueprint, then physiology is the how. It explains how all those different parts actually work. You know, how does a heart pump blood? How do our lungs pull in air? That's all physiology.
So what tells those parts how to get built in the first place? Well, that leads us right to genetics, the study of the code of life itself. It's all about heredity, how traits get passed down through genes, and it explains everything from why you have your dad's eyes to the roots of certain diseases.
And if you want to hop in a time machine and look into the deep past, well, there's paleontology. By studying fossils, paleontologists are like detectives, piecing together the incredible story of ancient life and the evolution of creatures that lived millions and millions of years ago.
And believe me, this is just scratching the surface. The branches just keep going. Immunology, ecology, pharmacology, every single field gives us a unique window into how life works, and each one builds on the discoveries of all the others.
But here's a really crucial point about biology today. It doesn't exist in a bubble. As we're about to see, it is absolutely not a solo act.
Which brings up a really important question. Can a biologist really understand life by only studying biology?
Well, in today's world, the answer is a definite, resounding no.
And this diagram really shows you why. Biology sits right in the middle of this incredible web. To really get a handle on life, you also have to understand the chemistry that powers it, the physics that governs its movement, the stats you need to analyze data, and even the economics that can influence research. They all feed into each other.
And this mixing and matching creates some incredibly powerful new fields. You get biophysics, which uses physics to explain how muscles can generate force. There's biochemistry, which explores the millions of chemical reactions happening inside our cells every single second. And biotechnology, well, that harnesses life itself to create things we need, like using bacteria as tiny factories to produce insulin. It's amazing stuff.
Okay, so where does all this knowledge actually lead? You might be wondering, what can you actually do with a background in biology? And the answer is a whole lot. Seriously, having a deep understanding of how life works is a skill that opens doors to an absolutely incredible range of really important jobs.
I mean, you've got the paths you probably think of right away, like medicine and health, becoming a surgeon, a dentist, a pharmacist. But biology is also totally critical for careers focused on the health of our planet, like figuring out how to improve crop yields in agriculture, or managing our forests and fisheries so they'll be around for a long, long time.
So finally, let's talk about the engine that drives all of this discovery. How do scientists actually go from having a question to finding an answer? Well, it all comes down to this incredibly powerful process called the scientific method. It's the blueprint for discovery.
This is the tried and true recipe for science. It all starts when you recognize a problem or just have a question. Then you make observations. Based on what you see, you form a hypothesis,
which is really just an educated guess. Then you use deduction to predict what should happen if your guess is right. And that leads to the most important step of all, the experiment.
The experiment, that's where the rubber meets the road. It's the moment of truth, where a scientist has to rigorously test their idea to see if it actually holds up in the real world.
And to make sure an experiment is fair and the results mean something, scientists use a control. The experimental group is the one that gets the thing you're testing. The control group doesn't. You keep everything else exactly the same for both. By comparing the two, you can be pretty sure that any difference you see is because of the one thing you changed.
And that methodical process, that cycle of questioning and testing and analyzing, that is how our entire understanding of the living world has been built, piece by piece. It's what lets us move from just wondering about something to actually knowing it.
So, there you have it. We've seen what biology is, how all its different branches work together, and the scientific method that powers every single discovery. It's the essential toolkit for understanding ourselves and our world. And the only question left is the most exciting one of all. What mystery are we going to solve next?